Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down.
Just give me coffee.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up.
Horses cold brew.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down.
Give me coffee.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up.
Horses cold brew. Just let me be blunt. My speech in the morning, nothing but grunts. With no coffee, that's as dangerous. On a scale from 1 to 10, I rank it that girl from Stranger Things. And if you get what I'm saying, my attitude be mad flagrant like I'm Draymond. But you ain't get the picture, BMP. So I'm gonna keep pushing on you, GNC. It's like, yeah, the first thing on my mind is when that hot coffee gonna seep into the coffee grind.
It's like some magic's floating all in the air.
Toss some ice cubes in my cup, it's a good day. All I gotta say is that it's starting in a good way.
It's time for working and I don't even care. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down.
Just give me coffee.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up.
Horses cold brew.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down.
Give me coffee.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up.
Horses cold brew. We start fresh, that's how it's gotta be. Everything starts back with your coffee bean. If it's cold brew, then it's gotta be coarse. Don't get the cart ahead of the horse, start learning the course. But of course you can disregard, and don't at me if it gets too hard. When it's my time to drink, man, it's always on hand. Drink from a cup or a bottle, even a can. You never know when you're craving a hit. It could be in the bathroom while you're taking a
Ric Flair while singing, ain't got nothing on it.
When that coffee hits my lips, it's a seance. Feeling real super with the cape on. Anything I'll take on.
This cup of coffee, yeah boy, this is the shit. Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down.
Just give me coffee.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up.
Horses cold brew.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, don't let me down.
Give me coffee.
Just wake me up, just wake me up, just wake me up.
Horses cold brew. Third verse, so I guess that's where I talk about how we might be addicted in a roundabout kind of way, or how you say, a dependency that's in my life, and I'm proud to say it's filling me with way more energy than I'll ever need, keeping me up for things I thought I'd never see. Time's gonna kill us all one day, whether old age, illness, or from listening to Coldplay. F that noise, wubba lub love. Drink all the coffee, chug a lug lug. The day doesn't start till you're on your second cup. If they talk before then, homies better duck. It's one.
Good morning, all of you beautiful nerds from around the world, and welcome to the morning stream here on the Den of Nerds Live, the very best way to start your nerdy day. On today's show, it's a DC Tuesday, and there's quite a bit of DC news to talk about. First of all, Zack Snyder, Deborah Snyder, Justice Con. A lot of people were dogging on that thing, man. They didn't really give us a lot of info. They proved friggin' Black Suit Superman. That's pretty much it. However, there are actually a lot of things you can take away from what they said and what they didn't say. And we're going to extrapolate out from that all the different theories. I also want to talk about the Zatanna news. Should the mother of dragons be Zatanna? I guess we're going to talk about that and what we expect from Zack Snyder in the future of the DCEU. A very interesting tease about another director that Zack is working with after the Snyder Cut of Justice League. We're going to get into all of that and more. Before we do, let's say what's up. Let's say good morning to all of the beautiful nerds. Mr. Deeds in the building. Captain Pennsylvania's in here. Tim Turner. Jamie Williams. Attack Peter. Ryan H. David Nations. Jumptown. Steve Denton. Owen W. Andrew Gates Knight. 1223. Freeman's in the building. Boss Keaton. Trinity's here. Fly Wavy. Adam G. Peter Ferret. Brandon. Landon Dubes. Lucas Tex Venger. Jason from Polyhedral Paradise. And Russell. What's up, everybody? Good morning to you all. Good morning to you all. The Dan is here as well. What's up, Dan? What is up? Music be allowed. loud. Can't hear you. Yeah, it's probably a little rough today. Huh? Let's shut it down for just a second. Let's bring it in. Let's bring it in. Let's get nice and personal. A couple of things I want to say. Number one. We vibing. We were vibing a little bit. Number one, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel, an elimination round of the Nerd Card Showdown. Whoever wins tomorrow will be in the finals of the Nerd Card Showdown, the first season. That's going to be absolutely epic. You better be there. Number two, later today, I'm sitting down and I'm going to be on the Kessel Run Transmissions podcast with Corey and Noah. We're going to be talking about a lot of the different Star Wars news that's coming out, sort of giving our opinions on it, talking about what we think we know from behind the scenes, et cetera, et cetera. So Star Wars fans, look forward to that. I will post about it on social media and probably on the membership page, maybe in the Discord as well, when it goes live. Thursday, couple of sweet, juicy things going on Thursday. Thursday afternoon, I think at around 4, maybe at 5. We're going to be doing another gaming stream. So we're going to be playing games with you guys. I think we're going to start with MTG Arena. And guess what, Adam? You're not just going to get away with a couple of wins because of the computer situation. I'm going to have it all figured out by Thursday, okay? So look out. Look out, Adam. Look out. Also, Thursday night, 10 p.m., After Dark returns. There's some spice. There's some tea. There will be opinions shared. I think it's going to be a damn good stream. If you are a Nerdvenger member, you're going to want to check that out Thursday night at 10 p.m. It's going to be really exciting. Of course, we have our streams all weekend, and I'm looking forward to that as well. But now, I want to get into the theater, man. Come on into the Den of Nerds Theater, guys. We're going to start today. Instead of starting with news, we're going to start with speculation. So everybody come on into the theater. Trickle into the theater. No shoving. Apologies about the sticky floor. We're working on it. If you must have popcorn, grab popcorn. If you must, grab it. And find yourself a seat. Find yourself a seat. We got things to watch and talk about and stuff. That's no way to talk to your DM. Uh-oh, what's going on? Is there some DM drama? Is there DM drama? Nice. Yeah, turn your cell phones off in the theaters. Dodoria is back! Papa Josh. All right, guys, you ready? Okay. This is a question that Deborah Snyder fielded during JusticeCon. And a lot of people are talking about this answer here and the speculation on what this might mean. So let me see. Let me get the volume adjusted here. And here we go.
Driven company. It's important to respect the director's vision. That's where we just initially come at it from. I think when we work, listen, predominantly we're working, we're doing stuff that Zach's doing, but when we worked with, Patty, when we worked with, we have something coming up with which I can't tell you, but we will tell you soon, with another director. And I think even when we did the sequel to 300, it's important to see what that director's point of view is.
Hang on now.
And
I need that Anakin meme. What did you say? Let's check this out again.
It's important to respect the director's vision. That's where we just initially come at it from. I think when we work, listen, predominantly we're working, we're doing stuff that Zach's doing, but when we worked with, Patty, when we worked with, we have something coming up with which I can't tell you, but we will tell you soon, with another director. And I think even when we did the sequel to 300, it's important to see what that director's point of view is. And to try and, sometimes you're fitting it in a franchise. So there's certain things that have to just work, so it doesn't seem like it's completely, crazy. But other times, and I think what the DCU has done is they're like owning it, that we have all these great directors that have different visions and they want to show this version of the character. It's why I think it's exciting to me, because everything doesn't also have to be the same, and
Yes.
they can have television doing something different. They can, have Todd Phillips have his Joker movie.
Yeah.
We're super excited. We're big fans of Matt Reeves, so I cannot wait to see what he does with Batman. We love Rob Pattinson too.
Deborah, he's making a Punisher movie. So you're excited to see what he's doing with Punisher. Anyways, continue.
So I think it's refreshing, because I don't think people want the same old, and I don't think people want things made from a committee. I think you want,
so
a
many shots
director, the
fired
biggest asset is their
So
point of
underhanded,
view. It's what they bring to it. And I think supporting that, and I think is exciting, because you will get different ideas. It's like, I'm kind of tired of regurgitating all the same ideas and the remakes of the this that came out and was successful. I much prefer a fresh take on things. And I think that each individual director, if they're allowed to do that, to me, that's much more exciting than seeing everything that has to feel cookie cutter.
Right. Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. Okay, let's pull back into chat. Let's exit the theater. We'll watch more stuff in the theater in a bit here, okay? God, I got this, stray hair. It's like, okay. And we're going to bring in Ryan in just a second. Ryan's going to join the stream. We're going to chat about this together. But I want to know, before we get too, crazy and I start nerding out about all this stuff and what I think it means, what do you all think Deborah is talking about there? She said they're working on something that they can't talk about with another director. So who do you think they're talking about there? What do you think? Green Lantern. Ooh. You think DC needs a cohesive universe? Actually, non-cohesion is exciting. Ooh. Mab says it's all spin. Ryan Johnson says Adam. That would be interesting. Oh, yeah. And if Rob is in here, Rob, you actually got to email me, bro. I didn't actually get an email from you. You know what I mean? So if you're in there, you gotta. Ooh, Toiler Room says JJ Abrams, Man of Steel 2 with JJ. Okay, yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at with. I think I even put it in the title. So it already leaked out that they want JJ for Man of Steel 2. Yeah, for sure. You did send me one? Are you sure? thedenofnerds@gmail.com. thedenofnerds@gmail.com. I'm telling you, I went through my email, man. I did not receive one from you. You can also hit us up on social, too. Okay. So it's been discussed for a while now. It's been sort of talked about that, yeah, they want JJ. You know what I mean? They want JJ to take the reins a bit. They want JJ to do some big superhero stuff, okay? People in Hollywood, they're, I don't know what the right word to say. A little out of touch, maybe. Let's just ask the whole, I would just like to know, for my own brain, how are you guys on JJ right now? Yo, what's up, Kendall? How are you guys on JJ? I feel like a lot of people have turned on JJ. I feel like the Rise of Skywalker really hurt JJ's stock. But that's just me. That's just my perception. That's what I see. What do you guys think? How are you personally on JJ? And what do you think? Do you think that there's a lot of people kind of not on Team JJ anymore? Like, where are you at with that? What do you think about that? Because I guess what I mean to say is, like, I don't think Hollywood understands necessarily how everyday fans feel about that. Let me think. I love the JJ. Right on. I like JJ. She's talking about Ben Affleck Batman, maybe? Well, maybe. I mean, she did say director, and, you know, Ben has directed before, so that's possible. I'm not sure if JJ is the right fit for Superman. JJ is way too safe, says Coachella Coastal. I'm actually kind of surprised here, because a lot of people are still really positive on JJ. Like, a lot of people are. Let's see here. I'm looking forward to his collab with Jordan Peele. I didn't actually know about that. That's kind of interesting. His Star Trek films are amazing. His first Star Trek movie is so good. It's so good. And honestly, The Force Awakens, like, without knowing all the other stuff, if you just watch The Force Awakens, it's incredible as well. Very hit and miss for JJ. Visually a good director, but his movies have no meat. Loved his Star Wars. LOL, flaws and all. Right on, Wayne. Right on, man. I'm cautiously optimistic about JJ. It'd help a lot if we knew what JJ and Bad Robot were specifically working on and getting updates. Okay. JJ was seen as a miracle worker. Rise of Skywalker showed he is human. Okay. Right on. I bet JJ is working on Matt Reeves' DC universe of films. Why do you think that, Attack Peter? I'm just curious. Batman v Deathstroke? Dude. Whew. It's too early to get that hype, bro. You know? I don't want to touch that because I'll start to get too hyped up. I think people blame Disney Lucasfilm more than JJ. Dude, that's fair. So, man, this is kind of surprising to me. I got to be honest. You guys are kind of surprising me here. I expected a lot more JJ hate. It seems like everybody's still on that JJ train, you know? And it seems like a lot of people blame Lucasfilm or other people, basically. Like, maybe you blame Ryan, maybe you blame Kathy for letting Ryan do his thing. Maybe you love Ryan and you blame JJ and Bob Iger for not going the full way, and you don't blame JJ for trying to restore his own vision. What's going on here? What is going on here? I was working under the impression that people were like, nah, dude, get JJ out of here. I still enjoy JJ. I think it'd be interesting to see what he could do. They should let JJ do all three. Yeah, no, 100%. I like him, but he has made some pretty big mistakes with Star Trek, Into the Dark, and Rise. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair, dude. I liked the first Cloverfield. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. So, all right, let's see what the super chat is here. Attack Peter coming in hot. Thank you so much for the love. They are boys? ? Isn't Matt Reeves a bad robot, dude? I actually didn't remember that Reeves did the first Cloverfield movie, and that was produced by Bad Robot, right? So yeah, they are probably tight in a lot of ways. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. But don't you think stylistically, JJ is the more big brand, like big glossy fancy images and stuff like that? Like, don't you think his brand, I guess even Super 8 though, even Super 8 gets really wild, you know what I mean? JJ can make Warner a lot of money with the normies, for sure. Which is, by the way, a big concern of theirs. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be real. Like, they're thinking dollars and cents. I mean, there's a reason he's worth that much money, right? Because I think, like, we're seeing it here. It's like, he's done too many culturally significant things to not be like a... I guess his brand is just still really strong. You know, that's crazy. That's not crazy. I just am surprised. JJ had to make 2 movies in one to clean up the dumpster fire. I tend to agree. I mean, okay, we don't have to go there. We don't have to go down that rabbit hole. But I see what you're saying. The point of what you're saying is he had to make a weird movie because of the structure of the prior film and the trilogy overall. That's really what you're saying. You're saying he had to make a weird movie, and we forgive him in a sense for making that weird movie because he had to basically because of things that were out of his control. That's what you're really saying, right? Why would I hate JJ? Seems to me like JJ set something up in Force Awakens that got messed up with so bad that he had to come back. Damn, dude. I guess that's crazy. I'll tell you this. This is really surprising to me, but if I was like JJ and I'm like listening to this chat or whatever, I'm like, yes. Yeah, let's go. Like, totally like, poop. You know what I mean? Like, worst Rotten Tomatoes score of a Star Wars movie of all time ever. And JJ's just like, beep, you know, just whoop, getting out of the way. That's crazy. I got to be honest, that's pretty crazy. Like, that's fucking nuts, guys. Everybody's, and pretty much everybody's feeling that way, dude. That's crazy. JJ is glossy, but Snyder isn't really glossy. Yeah, but Snyder is a visual director. So, okay, we got to get Adam, or we got to get Ryan on the line. Hang on. Let's give Ryan a call on the old Discord. See if he picks up. See if he wants to have a chat this morning. Hey yo.
Hey yo.
All right, nice. So I can hear you. You can hear me all good?
I can hear you great.
Okay, cool. So, let me get your, first of all, that shirt is just too fucking cool, bro.
Hey yo.
So, as I work on getting your picture on here for everybody,
Sure.
what do you think of this JJ thing, man? Everybody's all still pro JJ. Are you surprised?
Not at all. I mean, Hollywood always is behind the public, but he didn't. I think he did enough with Star Wars to get people on his side. Like, people, I think, really blame Ryan and KK for what happened.
Yeah.
And I think they feel bad for what he had to try to fix. And I think the public is smart enough. Fans are smart. We're not that dumb. We understand that he was trying to fix it. He just couldn't.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm pretty surprised, but maybe it's just the people that I talk to or whatever, sometimes that happens. We get like kind of in our own circles and we're like, oh, well, this must represent the wider view, and it just doesn't.
Right.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like, it's crazy that you're literally, what we're literally saying is like the dude made the worst reviewed Star Wars movie, in some people's mind, the worst Star Wars movie, like just period, ever. And he's going to come out more or less unscathed. Like, he's going to go over to DC, and there's still going to be a ton of people that are super pumped about that. Like, that's...
Yeah, and, like, he tends to scatter himself across a lot of different, not platforms, but a lot of different IPs.
Sure.
So I think, he always somebody's gonna like, because you said someone was talking about the Jordan Peele thing, like Lovecraft Country. I'm really stoked for that.
Is that what that is? Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Just because I'm like totally lost on that.
It looks like True Blood in the South during the 50s with monsters and not vampires.
In the South with the 50s and monsters. That sounds awesome, dude. That's a great pitch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dude, no, I'm into that. So let me ask you this then, Ryan, because you were on the panel on Saturday with everybody where you guys were watching it. I was watching you guys, but I was also in a room with like 5 nerds playing a big Magic game, and everybody's like yelling at each other. So like a little obscured my view was, right?
Right.
But it seemed like the general vibe was like, man, this is really not a good. Like, this ain't that cool. Like, would you agree that was generally?
Yeah, I think like most times we thought we were going to get something more than we actually were. Like you were saying yesterday, he probably got throttled by the studio. And it wasn't for, Justice League. It was for, Snyder or that group and the foundation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was okay. It wasn't the worst. I rewatched it after, not having to listen to Trev's voice so much. I took a couple things away. He's literally everyone's second favorite Rob Lowe. And he has a big old potty mouth.
He does have a big old potty mouth. He's pretty raw in that regard. And do you say the Rob Lowe because he says literally a lot, or
literally? He says literally a lot.
Yeah, I say literally a lot as well. People dog me on the comments for that all the time. They're like, I have this one. I don't know even who this person is, but they comment on almost every video. If I say literally within the first couple of minutes, they'll be like, "Oh, you're slipping up again. That's 2 literallys within 4 minutes." And I'm like, "Who are you? Keeping tabs on my fucking literally count or whatever." But hey, look, it's all love. Let's see here. We got another super chat coming in here from Attack Peter. Thank you for the love, my friend. Batman is bigger than JJ, and they'll announce JJ's soups in that universe where Bats is still young, and that will be the film they bank on. That'll be the film they bank on, maybe? Is that what you meant? Yeah, maybe. So that's kind of an interesting whole deal because he's talking about Batman. They've already got, they got some Batman. You know what I mean? Like, they've already got Robert Pattinson stuff. They've got the Gotham PD show. It's clear that that's a big focus of theirs. And they've got Michael Keaton. Like, that was broke in the trades. Everybody knows that's real. Now, that deal could fall through, but it sounds like they have a backup plan. No matter what, they want another Batman from their past library to come in and work on this multiverse thing, okay? And on top of that, there's still, of course, all the big rumors about Ben Affleck coming back to do some stuff on HBO Max or some other stuff. What do you think, just because Peter dropped that in, what do you think, man? More Batman, more JJ Batman. I think that's kind of what he was getting at. No,
I think this kind of works really good into kind of what I actually took away from Saturday.
Okay.
And when he was talking, he made it sound like ATT is the daddy, and all the kids need to be scared.
Yeah.
Because I think, a while back they said, we don't want to flood the market with our best IP. We're going to hold back on Batman and Superman. And ATT came in and said, let's go, kids. We are going to drop as much Batman, Superman, all of it as we can. So, I think it'll be fun. It'll I'm not a staunch DCEU defender. Yeah. But at least they're, hopefully if they can actually do it, it'll give us something fun to watch.
Yeah. So it's interesting that you bring that up because there were 2 moments. Even in the thing we just saw from Deborah, right? Even in that little spell, she sort of goes into this whole, this is the multiverse, and the I think the key point here is the way to allow directors to have their vision fully realized, to actually be director driven, which is what Warner Brothers has always claimed to be, to actually do that and yet have other interpretations exist. The way you do that is through the multiverse. That is a theme, by the way, that has been just said again and again and again. That has to be the biggest buzzword that's going around Warner Brothers Studio. And the reason I say that is because all of them are talking about it. Like Grace is talking about it. Umberto's talking about it. Even Taylor Gray over at the Culture Nerds talking about it. Everybody's talking about this. And it becomes the solution for a lot of their problems. I think that is awesome. You know what I mean? I think that's awesome. And it appears to be, like you said, that AT&T came in. I put this in a video a while back where I was like, it literally feels like AT&T came into a big meeting and said, wait a minute. You have an in-universe explanation. In-universe. It wouldn't even break canon. All the nerds wouldn't yell at us on Twitter. You've got a goddamn in-universe way for there to be multiple Batman and multiple Superman, and yet you're literally creatively clipping your wings over here, and over here because you don't want to over dilute or overexpose these characters. And it feels like AT&T was like, well, that is so dumb that I just don't know how to explain how dumb it is. And to stop wasting time, I'm just going to tell you that's over. You know what I mean? That's really what it feels like.
Yeah, I mean they're smart. AT&T isn't AT&T for no reason. They have smart people running the show, much smarter than Warner Brothers. Yeah, you know, they kind of dropped it, and they dropped it big. And I think, you know, the way you saw Zack speak on Saturday reflected that hard.
Yeah,
like he made some statements that were just, they are not in control of the show anymore. So
yeah,
get ready, kids.
Right. And that's like the thing. It's so weird because, like, you know, I've been kind of saying this from the moment it was announced that, hey, look, this is obviously going outside of the normal Hollywood channels. What I think is really happening here is like AT&T, you know, they have some really, really smart people. That's just the truth, right? They have the resources to attain the services of some of the smartest people in the business. And when I say in the business, I mean digital media, not even Hollywood. Like, Hollywood is a dying animal, bro. You know what I mean? Like that thing, good luck. You know, just good luck over there with whatever you're doing. But digital media has been doing nothing but accelerating and expanding for the past 5 to 10 years, right? Digital media is slightly different than what's going on in Hollywood. And you see this manifest itself in all of these different ways. But basically, AT&T came in and said, hey, here's what we're going to do. Now, they probably immediately got hit with the yeah, buts. Yeah, but guild guidelines. Yeah, but insurance costs. Yeah, but distribution deals. Yeah, but points on the back end. Yeah, but this, that. And they literally said, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I literally don't care. We just bought you. Like, let's reestablish what's going on here. Y'all better figure this out. Like, I don't care what it's going to take. You know what I mean? Who do I have to call? What kind of money do we have to throw? What kind of lawyers do we have to get involved? Like, literally. And that's what I love about this situation, because disruption in industry is one of the most fascinating things to me. And I've often heard it said that it takes a true outsider to come into an industry to truly shake it up, because you're not sort of chained or imprisoned by the paradigms of what it is to do regular business with this set of guidelines and rules. Like, you get really pigeonholed and tunnel visioned into thinking like, well, this, that, and the other. And then it takes an outside force to come in and be like, dude, I do not care. Like, I literally do not care. Make that happen. And so, yeah, like, you're right. Like, it is so written in between the lines of almost every statement, and even the spirit of the statements. Like, the fact that David Ayer is coming out and not only like being very supportive to the Snyder Cut fans, but lobbying for his own cut. This is unheard of. This is unheard of. Like, the degree to which this dude is coming out and being like, yo, you didn't see my film. You haven't seen my film. You haven't seen this actor's performance. That's crazy, dude. Like, it's such a shot. It's such a crazy situation. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of want to get to what Deborah said. Everybody thinks it could be JJ. I think it could be JJ. What do you think? What project do you think Zack and Deborah are working on in the future of the DCEU past the Snyder Cut? Like, where's your head at with that?
I would definitely think Man of Steel 2. You know, there seems to be smoke, so it would lead itself to a little bit of fire. You know, and then it pulls out from there. He continues to love Superman and that Boy Scout story and stuff like that. The one clip we got was of the black suit, which is probably his most favorite thing about this, is that we'll finally get to see his suit. You know, hopefully his vision is good. Like, that's what, when I say I'm worried about, not worried, but when I'm not I just don't really care, is because Batman versus Superman was just kind of to me.
Sure.
So hope like they all keep saying the director's vision, and that's great, but make sure you gotta pay it off.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
It's gotta
That's
be good.
Right, that's a very good point. Let me sidebar here for a second and just go over CGM shows. Super chat again. Appreciate the love. Thank you, man. Feel like DC is hanging their hat on their creators, while Marvel is all about the IP and the product. I think that's why they have so much consistency. Okay. Good point. Good point, CGM show. Let's talk about this a little bit because you're right. And we're getting into this weird territory here where, you begin to investigate what has made Marvel successful. And I think the obvious answer is Feige. And DC does not appear to have a Feige. And I think that, we're running into this thing inevitably here because we have a lot of Marvel fans. We've picked up a lot of DC fans recently with our DC coverage and all that. So there begins to be this discussion of, well, yeah, but it could still be a big sloppy mess. And I think beyond that, what CGM show is talking about, and Ryan, this is awesome that you're on here because I think you heavily share in this opinion, is that simply saying, and Mav sort of hinted at this as well, simply saying that the chaos is good because it's all just separate isn't necessarily good enough. And we could still find ourselves in a place where DC, although doing some cool stuff and perhaps doing better stuff, is just not even close to what Marvel is bringing to the table with that consistent continuity and with the IP and the characters and the stories being just so much bigger than who's attached. What do you think, man?
I think, anytime you have one side and another or two groups, you're going to have who's better and who's worse. And while I completely agree and think that Marvel is leaps and bounds above, it might not be fair in this scenario.
Yeah.
I understand wanting to have the connected universes and stuff and sorry. But this might be one of those scenarios like we were saying with Sony where something different could be better. So I'll give them the chance. But in that, when we talk about using the multiverse and stuff, I feel like they're only able to do that because Marvel set up the fact that there are multiverses in comic books. So it eases the normies into it.
That's very true. I mean, look, yeah. And the thing is, that's actually a really interesting point because this is actually Feige's doing. And some of the things Feige has said publicly are almost, they're counter to what I think he actually believes. But he has said things before like, a rising tide floats all boats, how he thinks of other comic book movies as being in the same team and he wants to elevate and lift everybody up. I will say this. Introducing people to these concepts and piecemealing out these kind of big brain nerdy as fuck ideas and sort of sprinkling them out for the normies the way he does has not only helped him out, but potentially helped out Sony and DC with what they want to do with that. So you're right. I would counter, though, and I think a lot of DC fans would maybe, about this. I believe crisis events in DC Comics predate major multiverse events in Marvel Comics, and the CW universe has been doing a crisis-level event with combining different universes. Although, it be their own separate stuff, I believe they have been doing that for at least 3 years. So, but again, you're right. Like, you're not wrong, but I think that DC fans might,
And yes, they might have done it first, but they didn't make $2 billion doing it.
Definitely not. They didn't make the biggest movie ever and introduce that as a concept. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. But yeah, CGM, thanks, man. Let me just give my take real quick on this before we go into the next one, because I think Lavis had a super chat as well. Okay, here's my thing about this. This is where I think DC could truly separate from Marvel and do something really unique and give us a really unique flavor. And I think this is what they need to do. They don't even need their continuity to be very clean. Like, it doesn't even have to be clean. Marvel's Marvel's stuff is really clean. But in some ways, that creates problems. It creates unforeseen problems, like one of them being where we're at right now, where Feige, I can just feel Feige behind the scenes being like, well, if I delay this, I have to delay everything. You know what I mean? If I delay this one little thing over here, or this thing is out of place, it ruins everything. Or if people get spoilers for Eternals, it ruins Black Widow. And so, like, there's things built into that cleanness that actually create a problem. And I could go on about that. I mean, for God's sakes, we're not getting a sequel to Captain Marvel or Black Panther for like 4 years, right? That's partially because of the canon. It's a possible negative side of that stringent continuity. Now,
Correct.
On the flip side of that, what I think DC could do is not worry so much about being clean with it, and more so just trying to have fun with it. Like just like opening up those doors and just doing the fun thing, the crazy thing, the absolute insanity, and not so much worrying about how that's all going to tie together later. Like, if you did have Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern pop up in the Flash movie, that's like an example of that, right? Like, it's just for fun. You know what I mean? It's just fun. It doesn't fit. If you really think about it too hard, you might hurt your brain, you know? So don't worry about it. Just kind of go that way and have fun and beat Marvel in a sense, not by trying to do what they do, but with DC characters, but do something completely different. Like, I think the next Superman movie should have multiple Supermen in it. Like, period. Like, what? Marvel's not going to do
Why
that.
not?
Marvel's not going to make Moon Knight and have an alternate version of Moon Knight pop into Moon Knight, and then there's two Moon Knights. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's sort of that would be what I think. They could actually use the perceived problem as a benefit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, if you would have told me 6 months ago that there's an opportunity that DC will have more content out in 1 year than Marvel, I would have thought you were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But, if it's all not tied together, they can have 3, 4, 5 different IPs come out at one time, whereas, we're still waiting for Falcon and the Winter to wrap up.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. Yeah. And by the way, this is only going to get worse because they're taking all of basically all of Marvel Television is being dissolved. So everything now is going to hit Feige's table. And so, like, because of that value proposition of the canon and of the world, they just can't. Like, they're just not going to be. This is why people thought maybe Ant-Man 3 would never happen in theaters. Because as cool as Ant-Man is, there's a million other Marvel characters way cooler that could potentially be on that silver screen. He might have to play second fiddle. He's a great character. You know what I mean? But, like, it was one of those things where it's like, well, yeah, but, right? It's always that, yeah, but. But anyway, let's get into some of these super chats. Lavish Black Man, thank you so much, brother, for the support. Says, so, they say Snyder Cut isn't just a few scene difference, but a completely different story. Your thoughts? Ryan, you want to take this one first? What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be a 3.5 hour story because 2 hours, it's not long enough for a director's vision.
Yeah.
So it's got to be. There's just going to be, I think, more backstory. That's why we're doing this. That's why we're excited to see it and ready to judge it as hard as we can.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Because we want to know what it was supposed to be.
Right. 100%. Well, okay, so here's the deal. Let's just talk in raw numbers. Zack hands in a cut. Now, by the way, this was kind of a cool thing I didn't know, and he was pretty adamant about there being a cut. Did you notice that? Like, during Justice Con, he was pretty hardcore, like, nah, man, there was a cut. It was real.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. I found that interesting. But his original cut that he handed in was all black and white. Now, the reason this happened, and this is just like a film thing, this is also why Solo looks like shit, is that if you have color correction problems, if you have problems with color, the best way to solve them is just to desaturate. And if the problems are really bad, the best way to do it is to desat all the way to black and white. So he hadn't color corrected. So in order to make it feel fluid, it went in black and white. I'd love to see that fucking thing in black and white. Like, even if it's not completed, I'd love to see it. But you got 90 pages of rewrites. 90 pages, an hour and a half of screen time rewrites from Joss Whedon. The movie was demanded by Kevin Tsuchihara to be 2 hours. It's a 2-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
An hour and a half of that 2 hours that we saw was Joss Whedon additional photography or Zack stuff changed into Joss stuff. So do I believe that it could be 100% a different story? Yeah, totally.
Absolutely,
dude. Just thinking
two
raw
movies,
numbers.
Almost.
It's
like
two movies.
he's giving us 2 movies in basically from what we got. So
he had 2 movies worth of stuff on the floor that we didn't see, guys. You know what I mean? And I think personally, a lot of the story, like the reason that I think it's cool about Cyborg and whatnot, is so Cyborg essentially gets fused with a mother box. And so his struggle has to be way more than just like, I'm a cyborg now. It's the fact that he has access to Darkseid in some sense, and Darkseid has access to him in some sense. And he's at the same time a person that could potentially help stop Darkseid and also be the tool of destruction that Darkseid uses to kill us all.
And we're talking so much about Darkseid, like Steppenwolf's story actually going to have a story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, and he's supposed to look cool. So the payoff on that, Zach.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
That'll be awesome. And
he has just so, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say Uxas and Darkseid and the whole mythology thing is gonna be much bigger. Like, and this was another thing that was really frustrating about the Justice thing. Where's the new god talk? Like, it's in there a little bit, but we don't even get a sense that one of the most compelling things here is that the Amazons, Wonder Woman, Zeus, Hades, all of them, they represent the old gods. And then you've got Uxas, who wants to be a new god. And then they become the new gods. Like, where's the story there? Like, the story of Highfather, Orion, Darkseid, all of that stuff is fucking awesome. And it got reduced to, like, it got reduced very badly. So I think there's a cool story there. Dude.
Yeah.
There's a great story with Superman being dead. Supes is dead during all of this, too. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, and he also gets the benefit of it being after he got to see Thanos. Yeah. So he knows how to play a bad guy. Like I know it was already shot, whatever, but you can still swap things around to even make it better. God, I really hope he doesn't screw this up.
Yeah, I think, so he has the benefit of not only years of reflection on his BVS stuff and all that stuff. He has years of reflection on other films and what Marvel is doing and what's been successful. He's got a lot of insight now. So yeah, I do assume there will be some changes made. And I mean, look, AT&T realizes what they have here. Nobody wants this thing to just be okay. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, nobody wants this to be passable. Everybody involved wants this to be something special. The fans, most of all. Zach, maybe just as much as the fans. AT&T, like, heavily, maybe mainly for the monetization of it, but, like, for sure, like, this would be, if it's incredibly good, it's a win for everybody. It's a win for everybody except maybe the big time haters, right?
And WB.
Sure.
Old guard WB, this is not good for.
Old guard WB better get the hell out of here. They need to get on a boat with friggin' Jeff Loeb and go be racist at sea. Anyway, Attack Peter says, Why did they bring JJ in? To do more Snyderverse stuff or to architect their new DCU? He left Star Wars wanting control over something, I bet. That's an interesting take. What do you make of that, Ryan? What do you think about that?
I feel they brought him in for Bad Robot. It's not he gets to play a little bit in, again, whatever box he wants to play in. The first thing he's coming out with them is Lovecraft, which is, a monster show. So, he's going to play in the DC world. But again, I don't think they brought him in solely for that. He brings a lot with his name.
Right, exactly. They brought him in to slap the name JJ Abrams in front of your face on a poster, on the trailers, in interviews, Good Morning America bullshit. They want Papa JJ to be telling all the moms, grandmas, cousins, uncles that this is going to be cool. They didn't necessarily bring JJ in for people like us, right?
Right.
Now, you say to do more Snyderverse stuff? Obviously not, dude. Obviously not. When they signed the deal with JJ, this was pre-AT&T. Okay? You got to understand that. They signed the deal with JJ pre-AT&T. Now, AT&T's not stupid. They come in and they realize the appeal of JJ. They understand the brand strength there, which is another reason why I think you could see a collaboration between JJ and Zack actually happen, because the power, like AT&T's basically, they don't have a dog in the fucking Hollywood fight. Like, they'll come in and just be like, hey guys, look, you're both still pretty loved. You're both good boys. We want the good boys to work together and make a cool sandcastle so that we can make billions of dollars. How do we make this work? And by the way, I would absolutely love to. Here's one thing that both of these dudes have in common. They both have powerhouse wives that are really fucking good at what they do. They both have producer wives that are like studs. So I want to see the couple's dinner with JJ and his wife and Zack and his wife. And I just think that if we could let go of some of the, the preconceived notions about this, dude, these four people could make magic together. They could really and truly make magic together. But that's, me just being Josh. What do you think, Ryan? Am I way off base?
No. Look, they're both filmmakers that have successful things and develop things. It would be fun for them to actually get together and they haven't done like one as like bad, like has Snyder done anything under Bad Robot? No, I don't think so.
The only thing that I'm thinking is like they love Matt Reeves so much. I wonder if there's some kind of connection there with like JJ and Reeves and Snyder and him and all that. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. What do you think a JJ Zack collab would look like? Like what do you think about that? Like,
I don't know if we'd be able to see so much with all the lens flares, but it would be something. And I feel like it would need to be original. I don't know if I would be worried about them trying to take an existing IP together.
Like
and
Soups? You don't think they can do Soups well?
Together? No. And it kind of goes back to this whole, the director's vision.
Sure.
We know how Zack's vision is. We've seen it through multiple movies, 300, Sucker Punch, He kind of toned it down in Man of Steel. And then we know what JJ does. He's really good at a particular point in time of a story. Yeah. You don't necessarily need to know the beginning or the end, but he'll tell the hell out of whatever part of a story.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough when you're using things that he said something in that, like, in the interview Zack did, like, I don't really know how Kryptonian technology works. And it's kind of like, you kind of should. Like, how, you're worried about your vision, which is a beautiful thing, nothing about that. But when you're taking something so beloved as a comic book character, especially that comic book character, you really need to know how it works, you know, in your own mind, but you need to be able to say, I know how it works.
Yeah. So I think what would be kind of interesting here, we'll do a little thought experiment, and then I'll check on CGM's super chat again. Appreciate the love, man, helping us keep these freaking lights on in here. Appreciate that. But then we'll get into Q&A for a little bit. Okay, so let's do a thought experiment, Ryan. Let's think of what the worst case scenario of this collaboration would be. So I think what we're all saying, I think we're all thinking it would be just nothing but spectacle and lens flares, super shallow characters that only serve really a visual ride, a Superman in, because we would assume they'd get Cavill back, but maybe like it's just so different that it feels super disconnected from the other stuff, right? That to me, that would be worst case scenario. Like worst case scenario would be they both try to fucking, like, in a way, like, do the dick measuring thing. Like they're both like basically like if their egos took over, you would have a big visual mess that maybe is beautiful but just lacks all context, right? Because I think you could make the argument that both JJ and Zack have actually done this before, right? So maybe like that's worst case scenario is like a beautiful visual mess with really shallow characters that you can't get attached to, that ultimately leads you to an ending that doesn't feel satisfying. Okay? Worst case scenario. Would you agree with that? You got anything to add to the worst case?
The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
That's basically what you get.
Well, you'd get BVS, theatrical, meets Rise of Skywalker.
Bingo.
You would get Rey Who, Martha, basically. Right? So, okay. Now, what's the best case scenario? Now let's get it. You know, let's fucking have some fun. What's the best case scenario? Flawless, unbelievable visual palette. In an incredible visual masterpiece. One of the most beautiful movies we've ever seen. That's big. Like, dude, Zack does big really well. You know what I mean? JJ does big well in a sense, but I feel like he doesn't actually have a flair for it. He's just technically good at filmmaking. So he can capture the big thing well on film, whereas I think Zack can do some kind of specials. Like there's some stuff in Man of Steel, there's some stuff in BVS that's like, it's kind of incredible to look at. You know what I mean? You're just like, wow, this is really crazy. So like you'd get a visual palette, unprecedented, beautiful, lens flares and you know, ripped CGI muscles, you know.
Sure.
Both of their stuff.
I don't think their egos would get the best of them if JJ stayed behind the screen and let, you know, and wrote and produced and helped build the story. And then you just, you know, you could tell Warner Brothers took a lot, handcuffed Snyder hard. With it. And I think, you know, it was visually different than what he was used to. Look at, you know, Watchmen, look at 300, Sucker Punch. If he would have brought that,
oh my God.
If he would have brought that to Superman at that time, it would have changed the game because fans wanted that hard, gritty, you know, that if we, I don't think he'll be able to do it now with the Justice League because of what he shot, maybe. But yeah, the two of them together I don't think there's any middle ground with them. You're either going to get the best movie, comic book movie you've ever seen, or you're going to get something so bad it will take them out of comics forever.
So let's talk about the story thing then. Best case scenario on the story. This is where I think it's actually most intriguing for me, because I think that JJ can bring a warmness and a, you know, normie positive thing where Zach is like really interested in like really human stories and like really getting into that character and spending a lot of time with their flaws, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in the story sense, I think it could be interesting if, like, let's say Zach handed an outline to JJ and JJ just said, like, so this thing you have happening here over these 4 or 5 scenes, I kind of feel like we need to tighten that up and just get the audience on board a lot faster and not linger on that point. Basically, Snyder makes long fucking movies. Like really, really long. And not just long movies, long stories. The reason a lot of this doesn't make sense when you look back at his movies is because he's working on a 5-film arc, right? And we don't get to see it. So the best case scenario would be they complement each other with the story. They create a story that's much more warm, which I think AT&T would desire, JJ would desire, and Cavill would desire. And like Zach, I don't even think Zach feels as though he has made this really, really dark Superman. Because if you notice, like when Grace brought that up, he was like, well, I wouldn't say I like dark Superman. What I would say is I'm trying to get people to go through that experience that he's going through to ultimately then arrive at him being the warm Boy Scout Superman. That's been something that's sort of echoed as well, right? So I think if you could actually get something that it's darker in spots than JJ would normally do, but it's also warmer in spots than Zach would do. So like there's an opportunity here, and I'm not trying to like nerd out too hard.
I think it's too late for that.
It's too late. It's years too late. But I, ever the optimist on this kind of thing, would love to see these guys collaborate. I would absolutely love to see these guys collaborate, Ryan.
It would be great.
It would be cool.
As long as, Yep.
Yeah. Let's
Great.
get it.
As long as there was nothing, no one getting in the way. And so.
Right. That's, I think, key. I don't think many people would get in a way. They'd have to get in their own way, which could happen. It could. Yeah. But here, let's take the CGM show super chat, and then we'll get into Q&A and see what you guys want to talk about. By the way, is Trinity streaming? Does anybody know? Is Trinity streaming today? Is Tuesdays? Does he take off Tuesdays? While DC not having an MCU-level connection allows them to do whatever, it leads to fans cherry-picking which movie to watch, unlike the MCU, which is like TV. Very good point again. Ryan, what do you make of CGM show's point here?
It goes to what we were saying before. I mean, we can see a scenario where DC's coming out with a bunch more stuff than Marvel, and it allows them to see what sticks. Maybe we start seeing a lot of stuff on HBO Max, and that gets to be the place that they live in. They both came out, Disney Plus and HBO Max, and we haven't really seen the true potential yet. We haven't been allowed to.
Sure.
So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out in the next few years.
Yeah, so I think my sort of rebut to what you're saying, CGM show, which again I think is a great point, and that's why I love this community, because we got the smartest fans. Literally, we've got the smartest community. Here's what I would say: the counter to that, this is the business. This is the business side of this. The value proposition of Marvel makes it so even a film like Ant-Man or a show like Young Avengers or a movie like Captain Marvel has risen its value because of its connection to the wider things that you care more about. So basically the same cherry-picking thing is happening, but you're applying extra value to things that don't have intrinsic value by connecting them to things that are more valuable to the consumer. The flip side of that would be to just flood the market with things that are more valuable intrinsically to the fan base. Meaning, you don't make Ant-Man, you make another Batman. You don't make Iron Lad, you make another Superman. You just double down on the things that are already working and that fans already have an intrinsic connection to. So you're right, CGM. It's just a different strat. Like, it's the same thing. They want the same outcome, which is to provide a ton of value to the fans and then be rewarded with the purchases revenue streams, etc., because they've provided such value. So you're not wrong. It's just a different strat. You know what I mean? Let's get in to the Q and the A. I think this has been a pretty good discussion, though.
Quite fun.
Quite fun. Quite
For
fun
something,
to talk nerdy things.
I don't even care about.
I know, right? I watched a little bit of the stream where you were talking about DC and stuff, and you were basically like, well, DC fucking sucks, but we're here, and I'm excited to see if they do something. But again, DC pretty much sucks. And I was like, damn it, Ryan, be a little more positive. But, it is what it is. So let's see what everybody's saying. And by the way, guys, drop your questions into the chat. We'll go at least 10 more minutes. I think Trinity is streaming. I'll look that up. And then we'll send you over to him in about 10 minutes here. But yeah, go ahead. Get your questions on in. And did I miss any? I don't think I missed any super chats, right? Okay, yeah, I think we're good. I think we went through all of them. Okay, dope. Dope. Let me see what.
Yeah, Adam, you did a good job.
Yeah, Adam did a good job for sure. I thought you guys did great. I was trying to be positive for both of us. Yeah, Ryan did a good job of also trying to keep everything in line. Trev, we love Trev, but he's a talker. You know what I mean? The MCU is dead. Now people finally seeing how mediocre their films were. Damn, that's a hot take.
That's some shots.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree, man. I mean, definitely don't know if I agree with that one. But yeah, some people would agree for sure. Who is the head running the DCEU? If there's no Kevin Feige type, then someone needs to be appointed to be in charge of it. I think right now the answer is Jim Lee. Walter Hamada is no longer big time in charge, but I'm sure he's working with Jim Lee. And basically the real answer is AT&T. Big Daddy AT&T is the one that's in charge.
Watch out, kids.
Yep, watch out. Watch out, Hollywood trade reporters, too. Jesus. I know this is a DC, but the tennis news. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about the Tenet news? So the Tenet news, and I saw Adam talking about this a little bit, is that it's going to probably release internationally first before coming to America. What are your thoughts, Ryan?
That's a bad idea, but, that's a different discussion.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, I understand they have to make money, but the problem is the American market makes up a third of most box offices.
Yeah, big market, yeah.
So, yeah, you're setting yourself up for some failure. If it's a good movie, it'll be okay. People will see it in the movie theaters here, but I can see a scenario where they don't see it in a movie theater.
Yeah, so here's the
Sorry, Adam.
Yeah, the short answer about this is that Hollywood is full of idiots. Hollywood is full of very dumb people. And I don't mean to be rude with that. It's just facts, dude. Maybe it's the LA Sun beating down on their heads all the time. Maybe it's In-N-Out Burger. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But a lot of people in Hollywood just don't think. And so a lot of these decisions that are going to be made in the next 6 to 9 months with regards to releasing movies, how to distribute movies and do stuff like that, it's just going to be a bunch of not that smart people playing with millions of dollars and trying to make decisions that cover their own butt. The Tenet thing, I got to be real with you. I think the Tenet thing, it's going to set the benchmark. It's a huge mistake. It's a huge mistake for this reason, I think, alone. It has nothing to do with how dare you. In-N-Out, yeah. Here's what I would say. I think releasing Tenet this way is going to be a disaster because I think, number one, pirating is going to go through the roof. Number two, I don't think Tenet was going to be a big movie either way. If the Rona never happened, I still don't think Tenet was going to be a big movie. One of its trailers didn't even hit 10 million views. How did they think this movie was going to be a big movie? It's one of the worst marketed movies ever. So I think what's going to happen with Tenet is literally, they're going to put out Tenet. It's going to get crushed, dude. I don't even think these international marketplaces are going to give it a lot of love. Right. Period.
Yeah, there's a lot. At least if it was bad, you'd get that opening week in America. You'd
Right.
still come off at 60 million because it's Christopher Nolan, and there'd be nothing else on, and and I don't know how the international markets are doing their movie theaters. How it's also, I don't know if they're all slammed into a movie theater, or if it's all sparsed out. Like everything's going to be lower, lower and longer, right? So I can see movies being in movie theaters for 3 months now because it's going to take longer to. You can't have 200 people in one room.
Yeah, I think Tenet is going to ruin. I think such a bad.
They're getting better press by, like, at least you're still in the discussion every time you push it back.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like that's publicity in itself. But it'll be tough.
Yeah, Tenet
they're behind the eight ball,
dude, for sure. Tenet wanted to be the movie that saved theaters. It might be the movie that literally destroys theaters. Like literally, it could be the movie that destroys theaters because if they have to eat like 150 mil, just eat it.
There's an Obi-Wan Kenobi meme for that.
Like what seriously though, what are they going to do? Because the obvious answer is just release it on VOD. Like the people in and I think either way VOD releases are going to start coming out like way sooner than they were before, right? But what that does is hurt repeat viewing. So like I saw Rise of Skywalker 5 times in theaters, right? But if I knew in 6 weeks, because at the time I loved it, I still like it, but it's bad. You can like it and recognize it's not good. Anyway, yeah, 5 times. So you can, I think if that's going to hurt repeat viewing, like if I were to see Rise of Skywalker a couple of times in theaters and then realize that like within 4 weeks I could get it at home, I'm not going to see it that 3rd, 4th, 5th time. You know what I mean? Right. So, dude, they're just, it's over. Hollywood, it's over. They're trying to, did you see this thing, Ryan, where they're trying to do fucking boats and theaters outside in boats? You go, everybody, it's like freaking the Senate in the prequels. You get in your little round boat.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yep. Yeah.
So now we're inventing all this bullshit.
Right.
Just to what? Just so that Hollywood can hold on to its old way of making money? It's over, guys. It's fucking over. It's over.
Mm-hmm.
See ya.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know how over it is because as you've seen from how we do things on this side of the pond, we will go right back to normal real quick. So
what do you mean?
I just don't know if they have the staying power to not be open long enough for it to be better.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm missing the point.
That Americans will
just want to go back to whatever.
Right back to normal.
So, dude, okay. So we're getting into some like kind of bigger ideas here.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll say this: I don't know if I agree. Like, I think actually, believe it or not, as crazy as it seems, most Americans have actually adopted to all of the things that are going on right now. Like, I think there's been a lot of bitching and moaning and a lot of like stuff on social media, but the reality is most Americans are actually following all guidelines and they have drastically changed their lives since the beginning of this year. So I don't know. I think actually like we will understand that if we want to watch this stuff and we don't want to like have to pirate it, like if we don't want friggin' Australia to be watching, Black Widow and then us not getting it for weeks, I think that we will accept that we will be just getting it digitally distributed. That's what I believe. You know what I mean? But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that I don't want to upset people, but yeah, I think it's over, dude. Hollywood, it's over.
Be interesting to see.
It will be interesting to see. I'm going to try to pull up Trinity Stream. Is there any last questions you want to grab from the chat? Anything that looks fun?
Maybe. I think I saw Mav have a good one.
Mav had a
I gotta
good
find
question.
He did.
Mav, are we talking about the same person?
What happens to the future of the DCEU if Snyder Cut falls flat or doesn't match the hype?
Okay, so let's, in this imaginary world where the Snyder Cut doesn't crush it, which we've talked about this a lot, but like it is impossible that it won't. Like
Right.
dissonance is one thing, but the fact that AT&T controls the metrics that they release, thereby controls the perception of success, it's over. It's going to crush it. But in this imaginary world where that doesn't happen, it doesn't really affect it much at all, I don't think. I think they've already got a lot of fan loyalty from people that are like, dude, it's awesome that you're doing this. And so they'll support whatever DC does next a little bit more generously than they would have. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I agree.
my take.
I mean, yeah, it's not going to matter. They've already shown that it's not going to matter because they keep putting out, statements and things like that. That there's more stuff working in the pipeline. So,
yeah, they're not stopping anytime soon. You know what I mean? They're going to do a ton of stuff, and I think the fan reception to it will be good. So yeah, in that scenario, which it completely falls flat, it doesn't really affect much at all, which is a nice spot to be in if you're AT&T, to be honest with you.
they have no risk in this. $30 million. Who cares? Like they'll make that back.
Even if it's
$100
million, like, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's $100 million, if you were DC and you were like, what's the problem here? Like, our fan base is not like after Birds of Prey or some shit, right? If they had gone to a firm and tried to price out a strategy to pay $100 million to try to win back the faith of the fans, I still don't think they could have come up with there's no agency on the world that I think would come up with something better than the Snyder Cut.
Right.
It's
There
the
isn't.
cure for what ails them.
It's an old time remedy.
So
Throw money at it, baby.
A spoonful of Snyder Cut helps the corporatism go down. Am I right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's show. Head on over to Trinity's show. See what's up with Trinity today. Link is in the chat. Ryan, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Adam, 6 Emmys.
6 Emmys, bruh. Of course. Talking Mando. Throw a 7th one on for me. All right.
Woo.
That's going to do it for us, guys. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.